Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Allison Dawson, and I am the Student Development Specialist, English and Writing Tutor for ECTC's TRIO Student Support Services Program. I hope that all of you are doing well. Today, I will be giving a brief virtual presentation titled The Building Blocks of an Argument. This presentation will focus on the Tolman method of developing arguments, and as we go through each building block, you'll begin to see, based on the examples given, how each piece comes together to build a successful argument. It is my hope that you walk away from today's presentation with a greater understanding of each of these components or building blocks so that you might implement them to achieve success when you are writing argumentative essays. Let's begin by going over the first of these building blocks, which is the claim. The claim addresses your main argument, the purpose and intent of your argument, or the conclusion drawn that you're going to build your argument upon. The claim is equivalent to your thesis statement, and so the thing to remember when you're developing your claim or thesis statement is that you want your topic to be debatable, you want it to be entirely factual without bias, and you want to use your best critical thinking skills when developing that. And so our example of our claim or thesis statement for this presentation reads, the use of technology in primary and secondary level education is hindering students' readiness for careers through the lack of verbal interaction. Keep this in the back of your mind as we go through each of these building blocks so that you can kind of see and better understand how each of these building blocks come together. And so our second building block is the grounds. The grounds directly relate to our claim, as they back up the claim with reasons, support, examples, observations, data and statistics, experiments, and research. Let's kind of see these together for a moment. So the claim again reads, the use of technology in primary and secondary level education is hindering students' readiness for careers through the lack of verbal interaction. The grounds or supports reads, Dawson observed a group of 7th grade students complete a math word problem activity online silently. Later, he observed the same group of students complete an interactive team-based activity on the same math objective. When reviewing the scores, Dawson found that 85% of the students scored lower on the online activity than the interactive activity. Dawson's reflection stated, the increase in content comprehension occurred when students were able to explain their thought processes and receive feedback from their peers. I want to quickly note that all in-text citations you'll find are in APA on this presentation. I want you to also see the grounds and the thesis statement as building blocks. I want you to see them together and how they connect. And so quick recap of Dawson's observational study, he observed 2 activities. One, technology, completely independent, and the second, a communicative, interactive, team-based activity. 85% of the students scored lower on the online activity than the communicative activity. And so in reflection, Dawson found that the content comprehension increased when students were able to communicate their ideas and thoughts. And so that's how the grounds and the claim work together. However, we need a kind of a statement to connect the two. So we're going to find that in our next building block, which is the warrant. The warrant connects the claim and the grounds. It demonstrates how the reasons support the argument. So the warrant reads, knowing information and being able to explain it in detail is profitable in learning and in the workplace, as ideas and thought processes are shared for the purpose of understanding and growth. And that's exactly what happened in Dawson's observation. When the students were able to share their thoughts, their understanding of the content increased. And so in this case with Dawson, we found the technology did not help, the communication did. And so that's how all of these 3 items work together. However, when we get to the part where we're talking about the career and the real life application, we're going to look at the backing. The backing validates the ground and supports. It proves that the argument holds value by removing any points of doubt or disbelief. The backing is also a great place to integrate your researched information, whether that be summarized, paraphrased, or quoted. So let's take a look at the backing in our example, which reads, trade jobs are continually in demand and require workers to possess an ability to thoroughly communicate with their team and clients to accomplish tasks. And so I want you to note something about that backing and what that says. The trade jobs require their workers to communicate thoroughly with their team and clients to accomplish tasks. Well, that directly relates to what we stated in the warrant. Knowing information, being able to explain it is profitable in the workplace, but also in learning, like in Dawson's example, where the students had to, in the teamwork assignment, communicate and share their thought processes, and that's when content comprehension increased. And so not only do we have the example from the classroom, we now have the example with real life application, and that really validates our argument and the importance of that verbal interaction there. The last two building blocks of our argument are the rebuttal and the qualifiers. The rebuttal acknowledges that opposition, and the qualifiers work after that rebuttal to function as an allowance for the limitations, variables, or other circumstances that might affect the result of our argument. So they might have to modify or adjust our claim a little bit to make everything come together. So let's first take a look at our rebuttal. And our rebuttal reads, others may believe, as some workplaces are entirely virtual, that online communication is a great item for students to be learning. However, in Dawson's classroom observation study, when virtual conversation was encouraged, 50% of the 7th grade students' interactions were off task and unrelated to the curriculum objective. So when we look back at the thesis statement and we look at our rebuttal, we see two items. We see the use of technology being a hindrance because of verbal communication, but in our rebuttal, we see that technology might be important because of the importance of online communication, because workplaces are more commonly remote in today's society, and that is growing. However, when they implemented that in the classroom, when that behavior was encouraged to communicate online, 50% of the students' interactions were off task and unrelated to that curriculum objective. Let's see how our qualifier comes into play here. And so because of those interactions that were off task, the qualifier reads, as half of the students were unable to communicate effectively, it can be gathered that the use of technology in primary and secondary level education might be a hindrance in that case. And so now we see the rebuttal and the qualifier work together to add more value to our argument as far as that thesis statement goes. And so that's kind of how that portion of things comes together. As we close today, if you have any further questions on the building blocks of an argument, or possibly you're working on an argumentative essay and there's just something that's a little bit different from what we talked about today that you need clarity on, please feel free to contact me. My name, email, phone number, and availability are listed on the slide. I thank you so much for listening, and I hope that you have a blessed day.